All right, thank you, Parshi. And I want to start off by thanking Tay and Debbie for giving me the opportunity to share one of my great passions, which is creativity. I developed a 12-week course on creative thinking. I'm going to share with you some of the tips from that class. So I also want to thank everyone for joining the call. And during talks with Tay a couple months ago, Tay mentioned that she wanted to develop an innovation factory here at Cisco. And innovation starts with creativity. So to help us to understand the relationship between creativity and innovation, creativity is the ability to generate new ideas, and innovation is the implementation of a creative idea. So if you look at it that way, innovation requires creativity. Creativity is the first step or the groundwork for innovation. And Psychology Today actually published an article back in 2011 that boldly stated that creativity is the #1 skill of the 21st century. But why? Well, if we look at the historical context, we'll understand why creativity is so important right now. A historian was asked on NBC News what success will look like in the 21st century, and he responded, success in the 19th century was defined by who had the biggest farm. Success in the 20th century was defined by who had the biggest factory, while success in the 21st century will be defined by who has the best ideas. But why is success defined by who has the best ideas? In Daniel Pink's book, A Whole New Mind, he states 3 reasons on why creativity is so important right now. The first reason being globalization. Manufacturing is now outsourced. So we don't, especially in the US, we don't make stuff much anymore here. We make ideas. The second reason being technology. Computerization, robots, automation. If a computer can do it faster, those jobs are being replaced. Third reason, abundance. We have many choices and nothing is scarce. What's in demand? Well, this is in demand, the iPhone. There's a lot of smartphones out there that have the exact same functionality, if not even better, but people are willing to pay a premium for creative design and aesthetics. So creativity is the competitive advantage and value that differentiates commodities.
It's like a magic wand.
Yeah, thanks. All right. And if you pick up any business magazine, you'll see innovation and creativity over and over. It's a hot topic. And most recently, April 2014's edition of Forbes magazine, there's John Chambers, along with other CEOs, and the title of their innovation factory, as Tay mentioned. So this is the hot topic of business right now. And right now you might be thinking, oh crap, I'm not creative. And that's not true. Everyone is creative, and I'll give you proof. In Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk, Changing Educational Paradigms, he talks about a test that was given to 1,500 kindergartners on divergent thinking. What is divergent thinking? It's not a synonym for creativity, but it's an essential capacity for creativity. So a sample question would be, how many uses can you think of for a paperclip? And depending on how many possible answers you have for that question, as well as how many possible ways you can interpret that question, that's how they test your divergent thinking. So this test was from the book Breakpoint and Beyond, and the protocol of the test is if you scored above a certain level, you're considered a genius at divergent thinking. Now, out of the 1,500 kindergarten children, what percentage do you believe scored at genius level at divergent thinking? 55?
A lot of them.
Surprisingly, it's a whopping 98%, so almost 100% scored at genius level. So it was a longitudinal study. They retested the same children 5 years later, and it dropped significantly, only 32%. And then I know, educators, don't be mad at me. I'm just stating the facts. So this goes against what we believe. We should get better as we get older, and as we go through the educational system, we should develop greater skills. But we're trained to think a certain way in our current educational system, and there's only one answer. It's at the back of the book. But what does this study tell us? Number one, we all have the capacity for divergent thinking, and number two, for the most part, currently, it's educated out of us. So how do we get back to our native way of thinking? Here are some effective steps for sparking creativity that I developed for busy people like yourself. Go do, learn, eat something new. Visit a new place, learn a new language, learn a new skill, eat a new food. So in 2014, my New Year's resolution was to try something I've never done before once a month. I went on Groupon and Living Social, looked at 2 to 3 hour intro classes. So the first month, I learned how to snowmobile. Second month, I learned how to fly a plane. Third month, I learned how to ride a motorcycle. Fourth month, I taught a class of fourth graders how to drum. Fifth month, I learned how to do glass blowing. And then my bonus round is I went spelunking, which is exploring caves. What was the result? Well, I got an idea for a second book that I'm currently developing. So why does this step work? I think there's 3 reasons. Number 1, it trains you to have the mentality you're always a student and you're always willing and open to learn. We heard about that from Pat Finn. You know, learning culture and Tay says a continuous learner. That's what we need to be. Number 2, we have to have, it gives us new perspectives, it gives us new experiences and new environments, and that inspires new ideas. And creativity is all about generating new ideas. Steve Jobs once said, innovation is usually the result of connections of past experiences. But if you have the same experiences as everyone else, you're unlikely to look in a different direction and think differently. The third reason why I believe this works is it teaches us to make a habit of taking risks and not being afraid to fail. Risk and failure are a necessary part of the creative process and innovation. It's difficult to get a new idea without stepping out of familiar routines and patterns. The more we risk and fail in a safe context, the easier it gets. IDEO, the world-famous design firm in Silicon Valley, their mantra is fail early and fail often. And as you do this, ideas will come. So how can you avoid forgetting them? That leads me to my next step. Once a day, capture a new idea. I've noticed that I get ideas and answers when I'm showering, when I'm driving, when I'm walking, when I'm lying awake at night, when I'm sleeping and even dreaming. Why? Because these are right brain activities, and which according to some neurologists is linked to the creative part of your brain. So if you get an idea, tell it to Siri. Take a photo or video of it, sketch it, jot it down in your app. We bring our phones everywhere, so whatever your methodology, record it when it happens. What do you have on you right now that you could use to record your ideas? Now, how can we turn this habit into contributing to us being more creative at work and beyond? At the end of the week, take 30 minutes to review your ideas and choose one or a series to develop, the one or ones that excite you. My ideas come through what I call the snowball effect, ideas that are linked to each other. Like Monday I get an idea, and then Wednesday and Thursday it builds upon that initial idea. My encouragement to you is, as you are in this process, do not be critical. Bad ideas are often stepping stones to good ones, and often the best ideas started as bad ones. Ed Catmull, the president of Pixar, he said that their films all started as ugly babies and they developed into something beautiful. So when's the time during your week that you can develop ideas on a regular basis? Set aside that time on your schedule once a week. So how can we multiply the probability of a great idea? That leads me to my next step. Once a month, get feedback from 2 or 3 people. Why? Because 2 heads are better than 1. 4 things I look for in someone to get feedback from. They're in the creative process themselves. They're safe and trustworthy. It's confidential. There's no power to mandate solutions. You don't have to follow their specific suggestions. And that way it protects the dynamic of the relationship. You can speak freely and they can speak freely. Now, if 2 heads are better than 1, then 40 are better than 2, which leads me to the next and final step. Once a quarter, publish your idea. Webex Social and Facebook are a creative's best friend. Why? Because there's no unlike button. And positive feedback fuels more creativity, especially when you're starting off. So many of great ideas are lost because they never see the light of day. So put yourself out there and it will fuel your creative process. In closing, number 1, creative ideas are one of the most valuable commodities on planet Earth. Number 2, you are creative. Number 3, it takes 21 days to form a habit. So my ask is to try these steps for 1 month. Even if you just do one of them, it'll be beneficial to your personal life and career, especially in times of stress and change. And here's a question to spark your ideas around. How can we implement these steps on your team and in your projects and in your workflow? If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to email me at sarayang@cisco.com. And my hope is that as we engage the creative process, corporate affairs in Cisco will be a leading innovation factory and market disruptor in the 21st century. Thank you. And